Hello there, you're welcome to the Power Circuit, proudly brought to you by the Transmission Company of Nigeria TCN. I am Amara Agogoesi. In this edition, we have the following reports. From the Minister's desk, the Minister of Power, Chief Adebayo Adelabu, has commissioned the 300 kilowatts peak solar power plant for the Mainstream Energy Limited in Kainji, Niger State. TCN management hosts FGN Power Company and Siemens Energy on accelerated agreement projects. Port Harcourt region of TCN gets new 60 MVA power transformer. We also have a spotlight on the encroachment of the right-of-way of power transmission lines in the Enugu region of TCN. The company continues to implore Nigerians to desist from such acts as it is dangerous and poses a threat to their safety. In today's interview segment, the General Manager, System Planning and Development, Engineer Kabiru Adamu, will be providing insight on the concept of the National Electricity Grid and its segments, as well as how TCN works to maintain stability of the grid through robust frequency control mechanisms and a transmission line loop system. The Minister of Power, Chief Adebayo Adelabu, has commissioned the 300 kilowatts peak solar power plant for the Mainstream Energy Solutions Limited in Kainji, Niger State.
Chief Adelabu stated that the federal government was keen on implementing the energy transition project and ensuring the increase in the quantum of electricity generated through renewable energy sources that includes solar photovoltaic. The Kainji solar project has a specification of 300 kilowatts peak solar photovoltaic and 675 kilowatts peak battery energy storage system as a pilot project, which was commissioned by the Minister of Power, Chief Adebayo Adekola Adelabu, at the Mainstream quarters in Kainji, Niger State. Mainstream Energy Solution Limited is the operator of the Kainji and Jeba hydropower plant, as well as the winner of the newly commissioned Zungeru hydropower plant, all in Niger State. The solar power plant commissioning ceremony was witnessed by the chairman of Mainstream Energy, Colonel Sani Bello, retired, among other dignitaries.
In furtherance of the bilateral acceleration agreement signed on the sidelines of the recent COP28 event in the United Arab Emirates, the management of the Transmission Company of Nigeria TCN has hosted the FGN Power Company and Siemens Energy towards strategizing on its implementation.
Speaking during the meeting, the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of TCN, Engineer Dr. Sule Ahmed Abdulaziz, said the new scope of the projects will target key load centers across the country. He also noted the projects will contribute to enhancing the electricity transmission system while improving its resilience and capability. The General Manager, System Planning at TCN, Engineer Kabiru Adamu, also noted the intense efforts of TCN in planning a robust delivery of transmission infrastructure to meet the growing demand for electricity in Nigeria. On their part, the FGN Power Company was led by the Managing Director, Mr. Kenny Anue, and the Chief Technical Officer, Engineer Idowu Oyebanjo, as well as Mr. Oladayo Orolu, among others, for the Siemens Energy team.
The Port Harcourt region of the Transmission Company of Nigeria TCN has taken delivery of a new 60 MVA power transformer and its accessories at the Rumosi 132-33 kV transmission substation in Port Harcourt, Rivers State. There is more on these reports.
The delivery of a 60 MVA power transformer at the Rumosi 132-33 kV transmission substation in Port Harcourt is part of the ongoing implementation of the enhancement of power transmission infrastructure nationwide. When installed, the capacity of the substation will increase to 165 MVA, thereby increasing the supply of bulk electricity to Port Harcourt Electricity Distribution Company for onward distribution to its customers. The Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, Port Harcourt region also took delivery of another 60 MVA power transformer and accessories at its 13233 kV Port Harcourt main transmission substation in Port Harcourt, Rivers State. Recall that in 2023, the substation received a 100 MVA power transformer which has been installed in the substation. When the new 60 MVA transformer is installed, the capacity of Port Harcourt main transmission substation will increase to 340 MVA.
The power circuit continues soon.
The Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, transmits bulk electricity from power generating companies, GenCos, to distribution load centers of distribution companies, DISCOs, nationwide. At TCN, we transport bulk electricity at very high voltage to DISCOs, who now off-take it and distributes it directly to electricity customers nationwide. TCN does not generate electricity. We transport the quantum of power generated to distribution load centers. TCN does not distribute electricity directly to electricity consumers. Our job stops where that of the DISCOs begin. TCN consists of two distinct business units: the Transmission Service Provider, TSP, and Independent System Operation, ISO. ISO comprises System Operation, SO, and Market Operation, MO. Each business unit performs specialized functions under the TCN umbrella. TCN, transmitting bulk electricity in the most efficient and effective manner.
The spotlight today is on the encroachment of the right-of-way of power transmission lines across areas in the Enugu region of the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN. The management of the company continues to implore Nigerians to desist from these acts due to the dangers associated with it and the threat it poses to the safety of lives and property.
The Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, is the sole company responsible for the transmission of bulk electricity from the power generation stations to the distribution load centers in Nigeria. This company has 10 regional centers that manage the national electricity grid. One of these 10 regions is the Enugu Regional Center of TCN, which has major power transmission line arteries and an array of power transmission substations spanning over 5 states. These states include Enugu, Anambra, Ebonyi, Benue, as well as parts of Delta and Abia states. In this spotlight, a team of TCN officials from the Enugu region inspected some of the power transmission lines right-of-way in Enugu and Anambra states, where heavy encroachment of these power transmission lines continues unabated. The principal manager, Enugu sub-region at TCN, Engineer Jude Mado, and his team were at the Premier Layout Enugu, where the 132 kV New Haven to Nkalago transmission lines 1 and 2 passed through.
We are now in our New Haven Nkalago 132 kV line 1 and 2. We are in this community as a part of our routine line patrol to see where the villagers and the people around here encroach on our right of way. We've been talking with our management, giving them reports. At the management level, we decide to know the next line of action when to carry out a demolition of these illegal structures.
The TCN official said the patrol is a routine operation and that TCN will continue to sensitize residents of areas where encroachments are observed.
On regular basis, we do patrol our line. Another visit, we will still come and check if they are around, because we want to meet them one-on-one, to talk to them, to educate to them, so that the construction will be stopped. If it's one they will scale back, they do it as soon as possible.
Also speaking, the head of Health, Safety and Environment at the Enugu sub-region of TCN, Mr. Samuel Ugu, explained the safety implication of the encroachment.
We are right under the New Haven Nkalago lines 1 and 2, and the safety implications of what he has just said now is that there could be electrocution that could cause the death of human beings, that could cause loss of life and properties.
Engineer Mado also expressed concern over the development of structures right under the power transmission line.
This is a new place that is developing. When we allow them to continue to build, the new ones you can see in front, they are still erecting buildings. They will keep on extending beyond where they're supposed to. As a rule, they don't have to pass 15 meters on both sides. But we can see that they've encroached on the line, even both sides. So we continue to mark this building, pending when we arrange for demolition of these encroached buildings and fences.
The TCN inspection team also spoke with some residents in the area.
So if you go beyond that 15 liters, you've entered the right of way of this line. And you know the importance of this line. This is where other states, like Ebonyi State and part of Cross River, where they get their supply. That is why we are making sure that this line is free. So now, we've marked all these buildings. It's to tell the owners, if it's wall that encroach, you have to take it back.
In Anambra State, the inspection team observed encroachments around power transmission lines and had to have an audience with some residents in Ukpo community.
This place is a Ukpo community. Yeah. This line traverses across this community. This is tower 58, you can see. This tower 56, we are the base of the tower 58 right now. So we have come and inspect one of the issues we will normally face when it comes to illegal structure.
Hello there, this is the interview segment of the Power Circuit. Today we'll be learning more about the power transmission system and its role in sustaining the national electricity grid. With us is the General Manager, System Planning and Development, Engineer Kabiru Adamu, who will be discussing this. We hope you will be well informed with this. What role does your department play at TCN?
Okay, my name is Kabiru Adamu. I'm the General Manager in charge of System Planning and Development in the TCN, and the department is responsible for system studies and system planning and development.
What is the electricity grid and how does it function to deliver power to end users?
In a simple form, we can say electricity grid is an interconnection of three major segments of electricity value chain. These segments include distribution segments, transmission segments, and generation segments. So the interconnection of these three major segments together forms what is called the electricity grid. And they are working through a synchronous operation is what eventually delivers electricity to the end users. So when you are looking at the three segments that I mentioned, the demand is domiciled in distribution. That's the electricity demand itself is domiciled in distribution, but the generation is somewhere else, right? Distributed from different parts of the country. Then in the middle, you have the transmission network that provides a link between where the generation is and where the load is, so that the power now flows to get to the end users. And this operation has to be synchronous. Synchronous in the sense that all of them have to be on at the same time. If any of the segment is out at any point in time, then you don't have the grid.
How do these segments work to stabilize the grid?
So stability is at the center of the electricity grid. I don't know if you have heard of the word frequency and what frequency does the Nigerian grid operate at. So frequency is the number of revolutions per second, and that the Nigerian electricity grid operates at a 50 Hz frequency. So you achieve this frequency of 50 Hz when you have a balance between what is being generated and what is being consumed. If you are having that 50 Hz frequency, that means your system is balanced and you are expected to operate with stability. However, this balance is difficult to achieve, or rather to maintain consistently, because the demand side itself is not fixed, is not constant. There is what is called the free governor mode of operation of the generators, which controls the primary reserve capability of the machines. So that allows the generators to be able to follow this behavior of the users, end users, on the demand side, and it keeps the balance on the frequency.
Is the structure of the transmission system in Nigeria only radio?
No. It may have some radial parts on the network, but it's largely having some loops, especially when you look at the areas where most of the generation is concentrated is somehow different from where the load is. And you need to transport this power from the point of that generation to the point where the load is. The loop is a kind of alternative routes through which power from one point can flow to another point. So we have a number of loops. The one I mentioned now, from Benin through Osogbo, going to Lagos, coming back through Omotosho, back to Benin, is one. Then you look at, for instance, Abuja axis. You equally have another loop when you look at from Benin, you go through Ajaokuta. From Ajaokuta, you come to Abuja. From Abuja, it goes through Shiroro. From Shiroro, it goes to Jeba. From Jeba, it goes back to Osogbo and goes back to Benin. That's also another loop. So in the event of any failure of any of the segment along one side, the power has alternative route to still go around and get back to that load center. We have a number of loops, even when you look at from Shiroro, going to Kaduna, going to Jos, from Jos going to Makurdi, Makurdi going to Ogwaji, Ogwaji going to New Haven goes to Onitsha, from Onitsha you go back to Benin, and of course from Benin you flow back Oshobo, go back to Jaba and come back to Shiroro. That's also another wider loop that allows power to flow from the south to the north. So if power is flowing through Jeba, Shiroro, coming down to Kaduna, you also have alternative route for power to flow to the north from Ogwaji side through Makurdi, through Jos, and it can flow back through Kaduna, through Jos, Kaduna, and it can go around. So that is also another loop. So there are many loops within the system, but we have some radial lines which are not yet covered by any loop, but TCN of course has it on the plan on what needs to be done to ensure that those radial segments of the network are also looped so that we'll have greater reliability in terms of power flow to all parts of the country.
That was the General Manager, System Planning and Development, Engineer Kabiru Adamu. He exhaustively discussed the national electricity grid and its segments, as well as how TCN works to maintain stability of the grid. Let's have the headlines again. From the Minister's desk, the Minister of Power, Chief Adebayo Adelabu, has commissioned the 300 kilowatts peak solar power plant for the Mainstream Energy Limited in Kainji, Niger State. TCN management hosts FGN Power Company and Siemens Energy on Transmission Accelerated Project meeting. Port Harcourt region of TCN takes delivery of new 60 MVA power transformer. We also have a spotlight on the encroachment of the right-of-way of power transmission lines in the Enugu region of TCN. The company continues to implore Nigerians to desist from such acts as it is dangerous and poses a threat to their safety. You heard from the General Manager, System Planning and Development, Engineer Kabiru Adamu, as he discussed the national electricity grid and its segments, as well as how TCN works to maintain stability of the grid. As you are already aware, the management of the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, has intensified this campaign against vandalism and wants you to support this cause. Kindly report suspected acts of power infrastructure vandalism and sabotage, as well as encroachment of the right-of-way of power transmission lines installations to the nearest security posts or TCN offices. We have got more information for you on the social media channels of TCN. For exciting videos about the Nigerian transmission system, like the TCN YouTube channel, TCN_Nigeria. We have so much more information on Facebook platform. To access this, just like the page, Transmission Company of Nigeria. TCN is also on X, formerly Twitter, so why don't you follow the company via @TCN_Nigeria. Are you an Instagram personality? TCN is right there on TCN_Nigeria. Kindly send your comments, inquiries and observations to TCN via affairs.public@tcn.org.ng. You're sure to get a response from the officials. On TCN's interactive website, www.tcn.org.ng, you will get first-hand information about electricity transmission in Nigeria. For more information about the activities and the mandate of TCN, do log on to www.tcnnews.ng. The Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, strives to be a center of excellence in electricity transmission. The management acknowledges your efforts. Keep them coming. I am Amara Agogoisi. Thanks for staying with the Power Circuit today.